Hey guys, welcome to Survival Dispatch. I am on a mission to save Grandma. She is currently at her residence in South Florida and wants to come home to her primary house in North Georgia. And she was gonna hop on a plane and head this way, but she's in her mid-70s, and I thought that that was probably a terrible idea for her to get on a plane and just be in contact with that many people with what's going on with this virus and everything. So I am beelining it to South Florida at the moment. I think it's about 700 miles, something like that. I'll have to check on the GPS here in a little bit, but I've loaded up the truck with everything that I think I might need, and I'm heading down on this rescue mission. Now, I know most of you preppers out there are probably cringing at the idea of such a long trip at the current state of things, and you maybe even threw up a little bit, but we've got to save Grandma and we've got to get her home. So I've got to do what I've got to do. And on the way down there, since I don't think things have freaked out so much to the point where I can't just head the quickest path, I'm going to take the most direct route, and that's going to take me through Atlanta. And again, I don't like Atlanta, and I avoid it at all costs. But it is definitely the quickest way down there, and that is what I'm going to do. And hopefully it's going to be smooth sailing. My concerns, I'm not concerned about the virus. I'm not worried about that other than for my grandma. If she gets it, that could be a real issue. But I'm not too concerned about it personally. What I am concerned about is everybody freaking out because of this. You know, the chances of you dying of this thing, I think, are slim, as of now at least. But the chances of people losing their minds and causing real serious problems to our everyday lives, I think, is a real deal. And I have tried to prepare myself as much as possible. My primary concerns are them potentially shutting down interstate travel to slow the spread of the virus. My other concern is that there might be fuel shortages. I've got 15 gallons of fuel in the back of the truck, which will get me a heck of a long ways, but it won't get me the entire way. But if people are freaking out and buying every roll of toilet paper on the planet and stocking that up, what are they going to do about fuel if there's some kind of whisper out there that they won't be able to get it tomorrow, you know? If there's even a hint of that happening, people are going to lose it, and there'll be lines wrapped around gas stations across the country. Atlanta. Ugh. I almost look forward to that change that may come from this situation, because it will give us an opportunity to endure. I understand that there's a real suffering that could come from a situation like this. I understand that it's not a movie. I understand that it's not one of Chris Weatherman's books. This is real life, and our lives could be definitely altered. This is unprecedented in my lifetime, at least, that potentially there'll be government shutdowns and schools are closing down because of this pandemic. And undoubtedly there will be people that die from this, and it's very sad and it's very unfortunate, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But at the same time, I just can't help but feel that anticipation, that excitement of the storm coming. Does anybody else shiver after they pee every time? It's ridiculous. So as I was pulling over to get some gas, getting off of an exit, stopping at gas, I apparently failed to yield or move over for an emergency vehicle, which happened to be a cop. And I've got a souvenir for the trip. It's good. It's really nice. But anywho, we must carry on. I I tried to take every precaution on this trip, knowing that the state of things, how crazy the world is getting. I loaded the back of the truck up with everything I thought I would imagine, everything I could imagine needing, plus some. And I'll show you through, take you on a tour of all that here in just a little bit. Can you hear me? Are you trapped in there? You got an EMC. There's an EMC here, so you're in good shape. Hang in there. Let me try to get something put on your head, okay? Hold on 1 second. You got it? Let me put it under there for you, okay? It's is that better? Truck. Small. Yeah, you're gonna be fine. A little sideways at the moment, but you're gonna be okay. Hang in there. 2 wide SUVs. Feeling everything, toes and things like that, all right? Okay, good. I think so. All right, buddy. Consider it. Going like that in the air. Yeah.
See that whole thing happen?
Yeah.
Is that just bizarre, man?
Nuts.
So surreal.
Yeah. I'm gonna get out of their way.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Yeah. Ambulance is coming, so I'm gonna get on out of their way. There's not much I can do here, so moving on. Back on the road. So that was crazy. There's I saw smoking tires, you know, maybe 100 feet, couple hundred feet in front of me. People slamming on the brakes. And then suddenly this car just starts flipping end over end, you know. Got out as quick as I could. Got out, ran up to the truck that was flipped over. The other 2 cars seemed to be fine. People got out of them, they were okay. The woman that was in the truck, she was awake, coherent, seemed to be doing fine. I put her, she had a neck pillow in her truck. I put that underneath her head, and she was talking to me. Everything was going for, she could feel everything, feel her toes, and was in some pain obviously, but kind of seemed like more in shock than everything. She was shaking pretty good. But ambulance was coming, so I just ended up getting out of the way. There's not much I could do for her once they got there, but had my med kit out and ready to go just in case. You know, you never know, and that's the reason you carry things like that. So I'm getting close. I'm maybe 125 miles away from the destination. I had to stop for gas, had to take a leak, and I thought I'd just take a second to kind of show you around the truck and what I've taken with me, because I know you guys like gear and might be a little bit interested in what I brought along the trip. In the front seat, riding shotgun with me is my small Hill People gear pack. And inside this kit, this is kind of my grab and go bag, the one that's ready to rock, sitting right next to me. And if I should happen to need to leave my vehicle for any reason, that's the bag that I'm going to take. And it has just kind of the bare essentials. I mean, it'd be a pretty Spartan existence if that's all I had, but it would be a whole lot better than nothing. I've got an axe sticking in the back. There is a poncho stuffed down in the back sleeve as well. And there's probably a million uses for a poncho. Rain gear is probably at the top of that list, obviously, but you can use it for all sorts of other tasks as well. Inside this pack, I've got an extra layer, a merino wool sweater. And I was really careful in planning out what I wore on this venture. I thought through everything. I really try to plan out these types of things. I've got comfortable, sturdy boots on my feet with darn tough socks, wool socks, my waxed kind of canvasy type pants, a merino wool t-shirt, and a ball cap. And inside my pack, I've got some extra base layers. I've got some merino wool tops and bottoms, long johns, a wool hat, an extra pair of socks, and maybe I think a pair of gloves. Actually, no, there's a small, thin pair of gloves here on the side. A GRAYL water filter. This thing is the bee's knees. I really, really like this GRAYL water filter. It gets the job done. It's super easy. You scoop water up in it and push it down in there like a plunger, and it's ready to rock. Very cool. Just kind of doubles as a water bottle too. Kind of inconspicuous. Doesn't look like a water filter, which is nice. Headlamp. And in the bottom here, got some, looks like I've got some extra batteries. These are extra batteries for my headlamp. I think it takes 4 AAAs, and that's what that is. I've got a small little pot, metal container, and inside of that is just some small tidbits, various supplies that I may or may not need. Hopefully won't need. But a lighter in there, start a fire easily, obviously. Knife sharpener, some duct tape, small spoon, a ferro rod, some cordage, and a little coffee right there, a little espresso. And this is just something that I keep right next to me, and if I should need it and run and go, that's what I would grab. What else do I think? I've got a couple other things. Spare Glock magazine for a Glock 19, and my Baco saw. Now on my person, I'm also going to have my phone, which I'm recording with right now. And with that phone is going to be debit cards, credit cards, IDs, concealed carry permit, some cash, that kind of stuff. Because you just never know. Cash is always handy if computer systems are down for some reason. I also got this weird thing right here that maybe some of you aren't familiar with, and you might not have ever seen one before, but it's called a map. It's an actual road atlas. They still make these things, believe it or not, and it's very, very handy if GPS isn't working for some reason and you need to actually hold a tangible map and look at it so you can figure out where you are and where you need to go. Got a few snacks here in the front just for the road. Filled this thing up with all kinds of miscellaneous foodstuffs there, and just a few drinks to take on the road with me. There's my Gorilla Pod for, that's what's been holding my phone while I've been talking to you on the road. And in the back, I've got, well, I've got some grandma furniture. Grandma wants, grandma gets, so I'm hauling some furniture down there for her. Very low on my priority list. Airplane. Very low on my priority list, but my priority list doesn't matter to grandma. I've got 15 gallons of gas, which I think I mentioned earlier. I checked the gauge. According to the computer system on this truck, I'm getting about 20 miles to a gallon, give or take. So that means that with those 15 gallons, I can go, what did I do the math? Was that 300 miles-ish? Something like that on the 15 gallons that I've got. So 300 miles is a long ways, and that's a long ways that I wouldn't have to walk otherwise. So, but in the back, I've got it relatively organized with a great big parachute bag. These parachute bags are fantastic. I like them better than any hard case kind of totes, because when they're empty, they take up 0 space, but you can cram all kinds of big, huge, bulky items in those big parachute bags, and that is fantastic. And I'll show you what's in there in just a little bit. But I've got a toolkit, just some really basic tools. This was my great-grandfather's little case, little Sears and Roebuck little toolkit, or toolbox. But I've got some channel locks, a small hammer, small ball peen hammer, crescent wrenches down in there, a screwdriver, some super glue. Always got to have some duct tape, a 55-gallon drum liner, one of the really thick ones. I've got a ratchet socket set, just if I need to make any repairs on anything. Not that I'd probably be able to work on these new trucks anyway. I don't know how to, something about the new trucks that drives me crazy. Everything's electronic, controlled by computers, and I don't understand any of it. So I don't even know if I'd be able to fix anything if I had the tools to do it. But this is full of food, freeze-dried food, canned food, what have you, just miscellaneous stuff that I filled in there. It's a Mountain House container. It's got some Mountain House in there, but mostly not Mountain House. It just kept the box, or kept the bucket. Case of water, and then I've got my big bag over here, my go bag. If I have time to grab it, it's got a whole lot of stuff in there, more than I would actually probably need, and could probably ditch a lot of stuff, but I didn't do a whole lot of planning for this trip. I just kind of hit the road and went with it. So but I can show you kind of all the stuff in there in just a second. Let me set the tripod up. My side pocket, which I actually already grabbed once today because of that wreck, is a med kit. It's got the tourniquets, got the gauze, everything that you might need in there, even just some simple band-aids, some medications and stuff like that for whatever might ail you on a road trip, like, you know, diarrhea. Nobody likes that on a road trip. But in the other side pocket, I've got my quart water bottle, 32 ounces, I think. maybe 40 actually, the Klean Kanteen, and then a small nesting cup to go with it. And this is full of water. It's got water in it because I don't know where I'm gonna end up. If I was at home, I probably would just carry this empty because there's friggin' water everywhere that's pretty much clean to drink as is without having to do anything to it. But here, where I'm going, in Florida, I don't know the area that well, and I don't know if I'll have access to clean drinking water, so I just went ahead and topped off everything to avoid any issues. In my bottom pouch here, I've got 2 of the bladders, the little bags for the Sawyer Mini, and the filter, obviously, and 2 fuel cans for my little stove if I should need it. Extra AA batteries for flashlight, a couple other things that run off AA that I have. Some leather, just at the water behind me. There's a pond right there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a pond behind me. Some leather work gloves, just a cotton rag. And then in this big pocket here, or not the big pocket, but the middle pocket, just some toiletries, toothpaste, toothbrush, and deodorant, and merino wool clothes, extra pair of pants. And the merino wool is fantastic for road trips because it doesn't smell. You might stink, but the clothes never stink. So this is all merino wool. The underwear, all the t-shirts, base layers, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, all merino wool. I'm a huge fan of it, big believer in it. I'll never go back. Cordages of different kinds, bank line, paracord. I've got 2 Glock 17 mags, compass. Another way to charge my phone is this small little power unit. This will charge my phone at least once. It might do it twice, I'm not sure, but you just basically plug your charger into it. I pre-charged this, so it's ready to go, and I can take this with you. If my phone dies, I can plug this into it. I've got some quick tinder tabs for a quick fire. Fishing kit. That's my fishing kit right there. Hooks, sinkers, and some line. Another knife sharpener, frog gig, with a sheath that I made for it out of some duct tape and some cardboard. And some wet wipes. It's nice to stay clean. Now in the main compartment, I've got basically just sleeping gear for the most part. This is foodstuffs, actually. Foodstuffs in here, some bars and jerky, some freeze-dried meals. This is all kinds of electrical stuff, electronics of various different kinds. This is a battery bank here, solar powered, so I can unfold this and I can have it charging in the sunshine, because Florida is the sunshine state. But this is pre-charged and ready to go if I should need it. Some headphones. A really super bright LED light for, use it for whatever, in addition to my headlamp, but mostly it's for filming at night if I should need to. Charger, cables, antenna for a Baofeng radio. Another thing for holding my phone, filming. Another iPhone charger. Poncho. So I've got 2 ponchos with me. I can make a really nice shelter out of 2 ponchos if I should need it. Fire kit. Lighters, ferro rods. I've got tinder in here, ready to go, dried out. And this is a sleeping bag with a bivy bag. And in the temperatures that we're facing right now, especially in Florida, I think it's 85 degrees right now. It was 60 when I left my house this morning. This will be more than cozy enough. And I could always ditch some of this gear if I should need to. If I should not need it for some reason, the bag's getting heavy, I could always just... But let's hope I'm staying with the vehicle and we have no issues with fuel or people being nuts. The world's turning into a crazy place right now, man. I don't really know what to think of it. But all I can really do is be as prepared as possible and fetch Granny and get her back without any issues. Now in this big parachute bag, I've crammed all kinds of stuff in there. I don't even know what's in there, to be honest with you, but all kinds of stuff. My wool anorak that I really like, awesome. A whole nother kind of minimal survival kit, one that I went on an adventure recently with, but it's got the essentials in it, kind of like the small pack that I keep in the passenger seat of the truck. All the necessities, a way to some foods, a way to start a fire, a way to procure clean water, and some shelter items in there as well. Tow rope, just a short tow rope. A wool blanket, because you never know. A couple of different cooking containers with another thing of fuel, another Sawyer Mini, and my little stove. More freeze-dried foods, just kind of threw them in there. Another small little mini survival kit, just threw it in. Yet 2 more Glock magazines. These, I think, are the 10 rounders. When I lived in California, that's where I bought my Glock. I carry a Glock 19. And they come with 10 round magazines because you can't really hurt anybody with 10 round magazines. It's safer. I've got a small, or not a small, but a raincoat in there. Jumper cables. And some trash bags, some 55-gallon drum liners. You just never know when you need a drum liner. So this was a very last minute trip. I finished up work, got this rental truck so I could take it down there, drop it off, because we're gonna drive my grandma's car back. And I just kind of packed up, and this is real life. I mean, I could have went through all of my stuff meticulously and organized it, laid it out so it made it seem that I'm a more organized guy than I actually am. I'm really not. I'm just a normal dude. I've got some stuff that I hope will help me out, and it's relatively organized. I know where most of the stuff is. But I would really like to hear your opinions in the comments and let me know what you think. What I could have lived without, what I'm an idiot for not bringing. I didn't bring my level 17 body armor and my hazmat suit, you know, that kind of stuff. And you know, if I start getting shot at with radioactive bullets, you can tell me you told me so. Now, as I drive, I'm thinking about all the situations and potential issues that may occur on my drive, and that's just kind of how my mind works. And you try to get one step ahead of anything that might go down. But the truth of the matter is, you're probably always going to be one step behind and reacting to whatever comes your way. And that's just the nature of it. People are going to be the problem. I always say the world's a messed up place, man. But it's not the world. The world's perfectly fine. It's the people in it that are messed up. My primary concern would be getting away from all the people as quickly as possible. That's why I live in a rural area. Now, once I get Grandma, things are going to change. The situation gets a little bit more complicated. She is in her mid-70s. She's got quite a few health issues. Fused vertebrae out the wazoo. I think she only has one vertebra at the moment. Her spine is about as flexible as a steel pipe. But we're gonna get her home one way or another. We're gonna have to take lots of breaks on the way home, stop every hour or two, let her stand up, walk around, make her some sort of bed in the back of her car so she can lay down and stretch it out, just so she can be in not so much pain and discomfort getting home. But that's just the way it is, and that's what we're gonna have to do. But I've tried to prepare for that with extra blankets and sleeping bags and things like that, because if the need should arise for us to have to sleep in this truck or something, or not this truck, but her car, I would have to try to make her as comfortable as possible, and always thinking about her before myself, make sure she has water and is comfortable and has something to eat and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it just having a family member with you complicates things. Everybody talks about, the bugging out and this kind of lone wolf thing, but if you've got a family, that's not realistic. You just can't wander off into the wilderness. Well, that wouldn't go very well for most people anyway. 99% of people couldn't handle that anyway, and it's not for long term. The food that you packed in your bug out bag is going to run out, and then you're just going to be hungry. Because living off the land is not as idealistic as what most people make it out to be. But getting close now, maybe another hour drive, and I should be at my destination, and I'll introduce you to Grandma. We've loaded up Grandma's stuff. We've loaded up Grandma's crazy cat. And now we're gonna try to load up Grandma and get on the road. Have Grandma loaded up. We're just about to get to Tampa, and I wanted to get Grandma's viewpoint on the coronavirus and see what her thoughts are on it. Grandma, what do you think of this coronavirus?
What do I think of it? Well, I don't think there's any need to panic. That's number one.
In your lifetime, have you ever experienced a situation where they've shut schools down, possible government facilities, everything closing down? Have you experienced that in your lifetime?
No, I have not.
And how old are you, if you don't mind saying?
I'll be 79 next week.
79, okay.
Yeah.
So 79 years you've lived on this planet, and this is the first time that you've experienced a level of panic around a virus.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. Now, we were talking about it earlier. We talked about how I feel a little bit guilty about it, but I feel almost a little bit excited about this, because it's a situation where we might have to endure some hardship that we've never had to do before, because life is kind of easy for us. And we talked a little bit about that, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it appears to be so, and you're right. I have never experienced a situation where the schools and other events have been closed down, and of course, no more than 250 people at a meeting. This affects our business and the country's business.
But we have toilet paper at the back, so we're good, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. We have a rush on toilet paper. I'm not sure how the toilet paper is going to help us in the midst of suffering with coronavirus, but we're about to find out. I think of course it's going to spread. This can't be helped. It's going to spread. But with many people it's mild, of course, depending on our immune system individually, and our outlook on it, I think, affects it. Just common sense is the bottom line as far as I'm concerned. I think, washing our hands, I'm a registered nurse, and washing our hands was probably every other statement in many of our school videos. So I think that still holds. We don't have to always have the sanitizer, hand sanitizer, or germicidal if that's not available to us. Just washing your hands for 20 seconds will do the trick.
I prefer to lick my hands clean. Is that not a thing, like a cat?
I think you could. I think you could, Jay. And if anybody can do it, you can.
Operation Save Grandma was a success. Just dropped her off about 45 minutes ago at her house, and unloaded all of her stuff that was in the U-Haul trailer, and then I headed home. It's about 4 a.m. and I'm a bit tired. I better get a few hours of rest before the kids start jumping on me. But overall, fairly uneventful. COVID-19 has not got us yet. I'm all about traveling light and being basically a minimalist if I'm on foot, because it just makes traveling so much easier and so much more comfortable. But if you've got the means to carry the stuff like a vehicle, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't take everything that you can possibly think of that you might need. And you could always, ditch it. It's better to have it, not need it kind of deal. So you could always ditch it and potentially come back to your gear later. But I really appreciate you guys joining me for this rescue mission. Hit the thumbs up for me, and we'll see you on the next video.